So why are we doing this? We're doing this because of misinformation that exists on the internet. If I take you back to my original video that I had made, where I had dissected a video on YouTube about this guy criticizing the school system, a lot of his claims were invalid. The first one he said was that Albert Einstein said if everybody was a genius, that everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. Well, here's codeinvestigator.com. Click that. There's no substantiative evidence that Einstein made this quote. This is from Princeton University Press. Okay. But even this website is not a reliable website because it's, codeinvestigator.com. Like, what is this? Like, anybody could have made this. This doesn't mean that they're, I can simply write a web page that says Princeton University Press said that. Okay. That doesn't tell me that that's true. They could be lying to you. It's a website. It doesn't mean that it's accurate, right? But here's history.com. This is a legitimate history website. Here it is, history, it's a television channel. This is this is a legitimate website. Okay, this is the website, history.com. And here it is. Here are 6 things Albert Einstein never said. This is a substantial source. Okay, but even if I wanted to go further, okay, Albert Einstein fish climbing tree, and I said Princeton which I've spelled wrong. Hold on, let's go back to that. Let's just copy that. There we go. Princeton University Press. I'm going to copy this. Okay. And I'm going to put it right here. Princeton University Press. There's Code Investigator. But we're going to look to see PrincetonHistory.org. Historical Society of Princeton. Okay, this looks possible. This looks like a good. But I don't think it's going to say what I'm looking for. So this is the Princeton University Press's information on Einstein. So I guess nowhere in here was that quote found, and that's why that guy quoted that on Quote Investigator, right? But I'm not going to spend hours because you could go through each website, you could read. Get real into it. Here's the YouTube video that uses it, and it's a very popular quote. Here it is, core.com. But I'm just gonna stick with history.com. That's an extremely credible source. Okay, and so like if I said to you, because I'm saying to you to find 3 sources, okay, you could use Quote Investigator. There's one, right? So if I was saying that this quote is fake, right? So that was my claim. Okay, so let's jump into this, right? So you did your develop, right? Who do you want for president and why? So this is totally your opinion. I want Donald Trump because whatever you feel. I want Joe Biden because whatever you feel. And I, the teacher, right now, I'm going to be completely unbiased. I am not giving you my opinion in any way, shape, or form. This is totally how you feel, because we are going to learn how to do research on people, okay? And how to do research on things. Because unfortunately, and this is why we're doing this, you will get many claims made and things said on social media, and then it's believed because lots of people liked it. That doesn't mean that it's true, okay? So let's go right into it, right? So Wikipedia is the biggest source for information, right? And I see Wikipedia used a lot. Okay, but here's Wikipedia telling you that Wikipedia is not a reliable source. Literally, Wikipedia says Wikipedia is not a reliable source. Wikipedia can be edited by anyone at any time. This means that any information it contains at any particular time could be vandalism, a work in progress, or just plain wrong. Biographies of living persons. Okay. This page is semi-protected due to vandalism. Okay. Let me see, if I wanted to edit this, I think you have to be a member now. I don't think I can just edit it, but there is a way. Oh, right here. See, edit links. I could edit that piece. Contribute. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Oh, okay. See, not logged in. Okay, so I would have to log in. I'd have to create an account. I'm not going to do those things. But if I wanted to click create an account, and I wanted to create an account for the Wikipedia, I would then have the ability to change this information. Okay, which is Wikipedia literally tells you. Okay. Wikipedia can be edited by anyone at any time. All you have to do is create an account, and there you go. I'm not going to do that. That's not the point of this project. I'm just simply telling you Wikipedia is not a reliable source. But it's not a bad place to start, and I'm going to show you how this works, right? So I'm just going to type in Donald Trump, and I hit enter. It took me out of Wikipedia. I didn't want to do that. Let's go back to Wikipedia. Okay, so here's the Donald Trump information that's on Wikipedia. Okay, and whatever your claims are, okay, I don't know what your claims are, and I'm not going to make the claims. Okay, I know what the claims could be for Donald Trump, and I know what the claims could be for Joe Biden. I've heard them. I'm just not being biased in any way. So I'm not going to state my opinion. You are doing this on your own. However, right here it says Trump's political positions have been described as populist, perfectionist, nationalist. Statements have been documented by fact checkers, etc., etc. You know, so there's information here, right? If I wanted to know if this information is credible, we go zooming down to the bottom of the page, and here are the works cited. Okay, so if I scroll up a little bit, there's a lot because he's the president, so we're getting there. There we go. References, and then down to the bottom it says works cited. Okay, anything here that I wanted to know about, right? Certificate of birth, okay? So the question is, where did they get this information? And I'll show you how this kind of works, right? So 1, personal life, okay? 2, business career. Then I go back down to the references. There it is. 1, certificate of birth. 2, there's a certificate of birth again, okay? Trump revealed the definitive biography of the 4th, 5th president. Just hover over it. It'll tell you what it's for. Okay. 5, same thing, right? 6, 212 commencement for the conferring of degrees. Okay, so this is if I click this, this is oh, this is actually a web archive. Oh, now we're going into the deep usages of the internet. I'm not going to go into that. that's heavy. You're not ready for that yet. But here are the references, right? So you could then use these references. Let me see if I can find a website. Is a peer-reviewed academic journal covering terrorism and counterterrorism. Okay, here we go. Trump denounces David Duke, KKK. We can guess what this is talking about. So let's go here. Okay. Here's Trump denouncing David Duke, KKK. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not going into thoughts that whatever your claim may be, this is some information related to that. Okay. And then you can look at it and you can, use this if this supports your claim or doesn't support your claim. Okay, if it doesn't support your claim, you might want to read it and see if maybe your claim is not valid and you have some misinformation. If it does support your claim, then you can say, okay, there's one source. There is work to be done. Like, this is actually doing research and reading, and it is a process. You got to find 3 sources that support your claim. Okay, so here they are. I mean, there's tons of sources, guys. We're looking at, just without even scrolling, this side goes to 742. So you're not at any loss of information. You might be overwhelmed by the information, but I would actually start, if I was going to start anywhere, I would start on Wikipedia. I would read this information. If you're going to call him a nationalist, what does that mean? Oh, when I hovered over it, it did it. That was pretty cool. Let me do that. Nationalist, hover over. Oh, no, it's not going to do it. There it is. What is nationalism? Is the idea and movement that promotes the interests of a particular nation, especially with the aim of gaining and maintaining the nation's sovereignty, self-governance over its homeland. Nationalism holds that each nation should govern itself free from outside interference. In other words, make America great again, right? that's what that's saying. But look at it, okay? Criminal conspiracy, right? He was brought up on charges and sent to impeachment, right? He wasn't actually sent to impeachment, but they did have an impeachment proceeding in the Senate. So what was that all about? So there's a lot, right here, the House of Representatives, it did impeach him. Impeachment of Donald Trump, it did happen. So was he the Senate acquitted him, but what do you feel about that? There's a lot to talk about when you talk about Donald Trump. So whatever claims you're making, find the facts, back it up, make sure it's credible. Wikipedia is not credible. It's a good start though. I'm not knocking Wikipedia. I just want you to know that you can't say Wikipedia said, because I'm not going to accept that. But when you come down here to the references, if Wikipedia said it, then you find the references, and this would be the source, right? So if I click, Donald Trump's social media ties to white supremacists, okay, once again, okay, is Trump a white supremacist? These are the arguments that are made against Trump. It may not be your argument, okay, but this is the New York Times. So if you feel that way, you click this, you read this, and then you say the New York Times says that this is that. New York Times is a credible source. I don't really care what Donald Trump says. He says they're fake news, but they are news nonetheless. So just because somebody doesn't agree with your opinion doesn't mean that they are not a valid source of information. They are a valid source of information. You should be looking at several sources of information, okay? And that's the point of what we're doing here, is learning how to find several sources. So 3 sources that support your claim. And I'm just going to give you a heads up when you get older, and I'm not going to do this to you to find sources that support your claim and sources that go against your claim. You're not there yet. Let's just get to the researching part of finding what does agree with you. That's easier to do as a kid, but I'm going to tell you right now, when you get to college, you're going to have a paper. You're going to write papers that are also going to have to express the other side of your view. So if I feel certain ways about things, then I also have to show what the other people say, the other side of the argument says, and then argue against it and show more sources as to why I'm right and they're wrong. But you're not there yet. This is just the beginning, and I'm showing you how Wikipedia is okay. Here are the references, right? And then, I will scroll down because I saw works cited, and I want to show you that too. So all the way down to the bottom. Here are the works cited. Okay. This is no, let's just stick with the references because these works cited are actually books. That's why you see an ISBN number there, and that's going to get really complicated for you guys. So we'll just stick to websites and looking in the references, okay? But I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna be biased. So that was Donald Trump, but let's also do Joe Biden. So we're gonna search Wikipedia. There he is, Joe Biden. Okay. So, he was a vice president, 47th vice president. Now, whatever, once again, not being biased, I don't want to state what the claims that are made against Biden. There are less claims made against Biden. He's not as wild as Donald Trump. Let me see if I could find anything in here, because it is more difficult. Okay, no, he was chairman of the judiciary. This is just what he did. It's easier to find. It's easier to find things claiming against Donald Trump because there's a lot of people who don't like him. And I don't want to throw anything out there because I don't want to be biased. I just don't want to go one way or the other. There are things that you can say. Busing, race integrated busing. Okay. Let me see. Reputation. Here we go. Yeah, see, there's not really. It's kind of hard. It will be more difficult. Not that it's hard to find things against Joe Biden. Biden called the Republican health care bill, here we go, a tax bill, meant to transfer, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I'm going to go mild. We'll talk about just the health care, Obamacare, okay? Obviously, Joe Biden was a supporter of Obamacare because it was part of his administration. He was part of the team that made Obamacare happen. There are lots of people who do not like Obamacare, and there are people who do like Obamacare. So there's both sides to that. It is a safe bet that if Joe Biden was to become president, that he would reinstate Obamacare or at least he would recreate another kind or use Obamacare as a foundation for another type of health care for all people. And there are people who are against that and people who are not against that, right? So, for instance, if my argument against Joe Biden was I don't want him as president because I don't want to become Obamacare, right? And that's like the mildest argument that I can make. So that's we'll stick with that. If I, as the teacher, said, okay, I would not vote for Joe Biden because I don't want Obamacare. Okay, that's my opinion. Okay, I now have to find an article. So Wikipedia is probably not a good answer because already here's your healthcare. It's like one paragraph. It doesn't say anything about Obamacare, right? So I would actually come over here into Google and I'd type Joe Biden Obamacare. There it is, Joe Biden Obamacare. Okay. Okay, so actually, this is amazing. Haha. So we can go right to joebiden.com. This is Joe Biden's website for running for president. Okay. When we passed the Affordable Care Act, I told President Obama it was a big deal or something to that effect. So Joe Biden said that. It's on his page, so he's supporting that. So here's information about that, right? And as president, Biden will protect the Affordable Care Act. It's not actually called Obamacare. It's called the Affordable Care Act. Okay. The nickname is Obamacare, but he has, look right here. So here is the argument right here. This is the paragraph right here. And this is joebiden.com. And I was actually going to get to joebiden.com. Okay, this is their websites. But I was going to get to that next, but this is actually perfect. I'm not donating, so anyway. This is on Joe Biden's website saying, as president, Biden will protect the Affordable Care Act from these continued attacks. He opposes every effort to get rid of this historic law, including efforts by Republicans, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so he is openly claiming that if he becomes president, Obamacare will be back. Okay, and if you don't like Obamacare, and I'm not going to be biased, so I'm not going to state my personal opinion. I'm just simply saying that if my argument was I don't like Obamacare, then here would be my argument. I would use this as a source. I'd say on joebiden.com, Joe Biden has specifically said that he will bring back Obamacare, and I don't like Obamacare, so I'm not going to vote for him. There's your source. There's your argument, right? So going back to here, research. So find, actually I wrote that up here and I shouldn't have done that. Control X. Nope. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Control V. Find 3 sources. I don't want the 3. Okay, so one was what's your opinion, right? And then now find 3 sources that support your claim. So in here, if up here my claim was I do not want Joe Biden to be right, I'm voting for Trump because I don't want Obamacare. That would be the claim. Okay, why do you want president? Who do you want to be president and why? I want Donald Trump to be president because I don't want Obamacare. And then you should have had more than that because it's 5 sentences, right? So you're making several claims. But then now in the research your claims, here is a credible source that says that it's the Affordable Care Act would be coming back right here from Joe Biden, right? And then go back, right? So Joe Biden targets Trump over Obamacare, CNBC. Okay, Joe Biden, Obamacare opportunity. That's an easy argument, right? So I could use 1, 2, and 3. No, don't use Vox. Forget Vox. Forbes.com. I don't know who Vox is. Forbes is a credible source. That's a news source. CNBC is a news source. Washington Post, NBC News, well, that's the same thing. I don't know who APN News. I don't know those people. Okay, but it's okay to use major news outlets. Okay, um, there is a level of credibility that is required to be a major news outlet. So that is a credible source. Having multiple sources. And that's why you need 3 sources that support your claim, because then that's credible, right? So we're learning how to do this. That's the key, learning how to do this. So now we'll go to the actual web pages. So here's DonaldTrump.com. Okay. And then, here's your get involved coalition. So what's a coalition? Let's click on that. Okay. Women for Trump, Latinos for Trump, Black Voices for Trump, Veterans for Trump. Okay. These are all different sites that you cops for Trump. Okay. It goes on. I didn't know he had all these coalitions. It's a lot. But you can click on those sites to get information. Okay. You have, okay, enough. Events, news, promises kept. Okay, so as president, what has he promised and what has he kept, right? And this is just your, this is a source, right? And this would be a credible source because it's coming right from the person that you would be talking about. So you can look here, right? And then also on JoeBiden.com, right? So what has he got on his? Okay. Video. Let's see. So much donation stuff, bro. Like, let's get to the information. Where's the information? I can make a comment about this website right away. Okay, leadership in times of COVID-19. Equality for people with disabilities. Education beyond high school. Ending the opioid crisis. Securing our values as a nation of immigrants, okay, and on and on and on and on and on, okay. So there's plenty to look at, okay. It's a good place to start. Wikipedia is another good place to get information and sources, okay. But that's what you're doing, okay. You are now building your case with the information and resources. So whatever your claims were in your opinion, now you're going to find 3 sources that support them. If you cannot find 3 credible sources that support your claim, perhaps your claim is invalid and you need to find another claim. So that was about 30 minutes worth of teaching, so there you go. Get to that, and today that's what you're going to do. You're simply going to so let me write the example here, right? So if up here I said I'll just take one claim, right? So that was Obamacare. I want Trump as president because I don't want Obamacare, right? That was a claim that I would make, right? One of my sentences said that. So now I have 3 sources, right? So like I said, it would be JoeBiden.com, right? So come over here, JoeBiden.com, healthcare, control, copy, right? Source number 1. That's source number 1. And what does source number 1 say? Okay, this source is Biden saying, this source is Biden saying that he will protect Obamacare. Okay. And that's like the strongest source right there. Like for that argument, you don't really need 2 more sources because Joe Biden is saying it right on his webpage that he's going to do that. But I want 3 sources anyway. So then I would come over here to CNBC, right? Joe Biden says Trump push to dismantle Obamacare would worsen coronavirus response. So this is another source, so I would copy this. CNBC. Okay, CNBC is credible. We go with that, right? Come over here, copy that. Next one, 2, is my second source. This source is Joe Biden saying Obamacare would have been helpful during the pandemic. Okay, I'm going to assume that that's what it's saying just by reading the headline. I'd have to actually read it if that's, but Joe Biden says Trump push to dismantle Obamacare will worsen coronavirus response. That's saying that if he had kept Obamacare, it would make coronavirus response better. You have to actually read the article. I'm just going off of the headline, okay? But this is the point. Let's take a look at Vox, because I don't even know who Vox is. I'm curious now what Vox is. I don't know who Vox is. Dylan Scott. Okay, I guess this looks like it's a credible source-ish. I don't know. I mean, I can make a webpage like this, so it doesn't mean that it's credible. I mean, I guess they are a news source. It looks like they are a news source. So I've never heard of them before. So I would kind of stay away from anybody I haven't heard of before. Forbes, I've heard of. I haven't heard of all the news stations. So Fox may be a big news station. I just don't know about them. I don't know everything. It's possible. Oh, this is perfect. Joe Biden's healthcare plan would spend $750 billion more on Obamacare and cap drug price inflation. Okay. So this source is great. Forbes. I love Forbes. And I'm not going to be biased. I'm just going to put the information there and leave it up. All right. So then this source is saying that Biden will spend $750 billion on Obamacare. Okay. And that's pretty much it, right? 3 sources that support your claim. Your claims are up there, and now, if my claim was I want Trump as president because I don't want Obamacare, so I'll leave this up. We'll actually make this as an example. So right now I'm going to bold that. That's the claim. Okay, the claim. Okay, and then I'll space this. And then we'll put for example, because this is the example. Alright, and I like to put this in italics like that, and enter. We don't need the 3. Okay, right, so now it's nice and clean so we can see what we're talking about. So up here you were developing this thing by creating your opinion. Now you're doing the research to find the resources to support your claim. The claim is I want Trump as president because I don't want Obamacare. Okay, now this is the first source. This source is Biden saying that he will protect Obamacare. This source is saying this source is Joe Biden saying Obamacare would have been helpful during the pandemic. So he's supporting Obamacare. And this source is saying Biden will spend $750 billion on Obamacare, right? So these are my 3 sources, all of which are saying that Biden will bring back Obamacare, and if I don't want Obamacare, then this is why I'm saying I'm not voting for Biden. Okay, and that's probably the easiest argument that could be made. Okay, that's not your teacher's argument. I'm not being biased. I'm not against Joe Biden, but I just didn't want to get into going against Trump because there's so much against him that it could get ugly, and trying to avoid getting in trouble because this is a hot topic. There are a lot of hot topics, but that's also why we're doing this project, because you need to be able to discern misinformation. And I'm trying to tread lightly into this abyss of a mess that is 2020 while still enabling you to figure out information for yourself and start learning how to disseminate between real news and fake news. Okay, so let me be very clear about real news and fake news before I end this video. Donald Trump calls some news outlets fake news. Okay, he's very out there. Okay, and now for the past 4 years, that has brought a lot of questions about the media. Okay, now yes, every news outlet is biased in some way. Okay, their editors feel a certain way about certain. So some news outlets like Trump, some news outlets don't like Trump. And so if the news outlet does not like Trump and they put bad news about him out there, Trump will call them fake news. That's not fake news. That's just news you don't like or that he doesn't like. But on social media, when a claim is made and it looks like it's true and people believe that it's true, but it's really just an unsupported claim, that is fake news, right? So if I posted on social media that Einstein made the quote that, fish climbing trees and all that stuff in the beginning, right? That's not true. But there's nothing stopping me from posting that up on social media. And now if that is believed, it becomes fake news because it's not true and people are acting like it is true. And that's what fake news is. Fake news is not somebody who goes against what you believe. That's what Donald Trump calls fake news. That's not actually fake news. But I want you to be aware of what actual fake news is, because there is a lot of it out there. And sometimes it sounds correct, but you should always check. If you see something and you say, "Oh wow, that's amazing. I didn't believe that. I can't believe that." Then check it first. Maybe it shouldn't be believed, okay? Do not just take anything at face value or whatever people say, okay? So that's going to be the end of my video, and that's what you're doing for today, the research part of this. And I'll have this up as the example in Schoology.